The story starts with Toya Mochizaki. He died in an accident caused by God. God apologized to Toya for throwing lightning to the earth and accidentally killing him. Toya couldn't believe that he died at the age of 15, but he took the bad news very calmly. He asked the god what is going to happen to him now. God offered Toya to be reborn again in another world. Toya immediately agreed to his reincarnation, and God wanted to grant him one wish as compensation. Toya then asked if he could take his phone to the other world, but realized that he can't charge it. So God allowed him, and Toya learned that in the other world, he can charge his phone with magic. Toya was happy to take his phone, but he thought that his phone is useless. So God explained that he can use anything like in his old life, except calling people in his old world. After that, Toya was sent to another world, and he immediately received a call from God. God wanted to let him know that he could use Google Maps in the new world, and everything was adjusted. So Toya was able to find the nearest town with his phone, and he realized that he didn't have any money to buy food and drinks. As he was thinking about how to get money, suddenly a carriage appeared in front of him. The carriage stopped, and a man who found Toya's clothes interesting got out. He wanted to buy the clothes from Toya. Toya was then allowed to ride into town with him in the carriage, and he found out that the man had his own fashion shop. Toya got new clothes, and the fashion retailer also wanted to buy Toya's Gucci underwear. Toya got a lot of gold coins for his Gucci school suit, and he asked the fashion retailer if he knew a good inn. The merchant recommended the Silver Moon Inn, and Toya used his Google Maps to make his way there. Suddenly Toya heard voices, that someone is in trouble. Followed we see two girls being threatened by two bad guys. The guys wanted to scam the two girls and offered only 1 silver coin for an expensive item. Toya wanted to help the two girls, and he asked if he can buy the item for 1 gold coin. The girl accepted his offer. Suddenly he destroyed the item and the guys got angry. They attacked Toya. In that moment, Toya recalled that God boosted all of his skills to the maximum. He noticed that he was now a maxed out hero, so Toya defeated the criminals easily. Then Toya paid the two girls with a gold coin. They were very grateful that Toya saved them, and thanked Toya, also for the money. Toya learned that the two girls' names are Elsie and Lindsay, who are both twins. Toya introduced himself too, and the girls thought he was from another place called Ishin. Toya found out that the two girls are also living in the Silver Moon Inn, and they showed him the way to the inn. When they arrived at the inn, the innkeeper Micah teased her friend Elsa, and asked her if they too got a boyfriend. Elsa blushed. Then Toya learned from Elsa that the two twins had an order to transport the item, and the guys tried to scam them. Lindsay said that she was against the idea of taking such a dubious job from the start, and Elsa said that next time they'd better take jobs from the guild. Toya overheard their conversation about the guild, and asked if he could accompany them when they went to the guild. The two twins agreed to show Toya the way to the guild house, and he thanked them. During the night he looked at what was happening in his old world. After that he went to sleep. The next day, Toya accompanied the girls to the guild, and he couldn't read the new world's writing at all. So he looked at the two girls, and they wanted to know if he had already decided for a job. Toya confessed that he can't read at all, which surprised the two girls. Lindsay then reads an assignment, and the two girls offered Toya to do an assignment with them. So they decided to carry out an order together, and Toya needs some equipment. Toya then bought a sword, and he also signed up as an adventurer. After that, Toya and the twins fought against strong wolves. Toya saw fire magic for the first time and was amazed by Lindsay. Toya and his friends managed to complete their first assignment with ease. They were only supposed to defeat 5 unicorn wolves, and they brought 6 horns to the guild. Toya wanted to keep one of the horns as a souvenir for his first job. Then their guild card was stamped with magic, and they got their reward. Later they had tea together, and Toya asked Elsa and Lindsay if they could teach him to read and write. Elsa suggested her sister Lindsay to Toya, and she blushed. Also, Toya asked if they could still teach him magic. Lindsay then explained that people without affinity cannot cast spells. Toya didn't understand everything, but he was sure that he had received a high affinity from God. Toya asked if they have a way to find out about the affinity for magic, so he was shown magic crystal with which one can strengthen magical energy. Lenz then showed him how to use the magic stones and created water. Then Elsa explained that she has no water affinity, and therefore could not use water magic. She also explained that everyone has a different affinity, and Toya wanted to test his own affinity. He used a magic crystal, and a large amount of water appeared. Toya wanted to see if he had any other affinities, and they went outside. Toya tested all magic stones, and all magic stones he used reacted to him. Mastering all elements, Toya learned that Lindsay was mastering only 3 elements, and there has never been anyone who had 6 affinities. Then Toya discovered another magic stone and learned about null magic. Toya learned that null magics are unique magics, like body enhancement magics from Elsie. Null magic is also called personal magic because not everyone can learn it. Then Toya tested it, to see if he could use null magic. So he said the words gate, and Toya created a portal. They then noted that Toya can use gate to create a portal to a place he's visited before. So they found out that Toya has all 7 affinities, and Toya was surprised that God made him overpowered. Then Micah showed up and introduced them to Isle, who was looking for a new dish for her cafe. They asked if Toya and his friends had any ideas. The twins had no idea and asked Toya for his advice. Toya learned that she would like to make a dessert, and her target audience are all women. He then told them about ice cream, and they didn't know the delicious dish, which Toya called. Toya then used his phone and the 2 girls were curious. Toya said that it is a device only he can use and he sought out the ingredients for ice cream. Then they got all the ingredients that they need to make delicious ice cream. Followed, they used ice magic and made successful ice cream. When they tasted the ice cream, everyone was surprised by the delicious taste. They loved Toya's dessert, and Ail thanked Toya for showing her to make the delicious ice cream. In the morning, Toya started an assignment, and he took a picture of Elsa sleeping. Also, his group were going to deliver a letter to the capital. Toya then asked the twins why they didn't take the quest to fight against a mega slime. The 2 twins said they hated slimes. Toya learned that slime monsters could decompose women's clothing, and he visualized it, how it would be look like. After that, Toya's group wanted to eat lunch. Suddenly they spotted a samurai girl fighting many criminals. She could use strong fighting techniques, but the girl was too hungry to fight. Toya supported the samurai girl, and he and his friends defeated all the criminals. Before they got into trouble, they ran to a small alley and took the girl with them. Toya learned that the rescued girl's name is Yahei, and she is from the country of Ishin. Then Yahei's stomach growled and she lost all her money to the criminals. Toya and his friends invited the samurai girl to lunch. She said that she is on a training trip and her next destination is the king's capital. Toya's group also planned to travel to the capital, so Elsa asked if she would like to travel to the capital together. They then drove to the capital together in a carriage, and Elsa was happy that Yahei was there too. Meanwhile, Toya learned more about null magic, and he learned that most null magic are useless, because they were created by amateurs. Then Toya discovered a spell to draw distant objects into his hands. So Toya tested the new spell, and he managed to get Yahei's hairband on his hand. Lindsay noted that it's a useful spell, but he could have done nasty things with it too, like pickpocketing. Elsa and Lindsay said that Toya aren't allowed to commit crimes with his spell, so he said that he could also use his newfound magic to steal girls' panties. The 2 twins got scared at the thought, and Toya said it was just a joke. After that, he tested another spell that expands his senses. As a result, Toya could smell something suspicious far away. Toya smelled blood, and they discovered that people were being attacked by evil monsters. Toya and his friends immediately fought the monsters, and Yahei tripped over a rock. A monster appeared, and Toya used a spell to save Yahei. Then more monsters appeared, and Toya admired how the girls fought the monsters. Suddenly, a monster tried to sneakily attack Toya, and he was rescued by Lindsay. More and more monsters appeared, and a magician summons more lizard monsters. This is how the summoner was discovered by Toya, and he used his spell named Slip to incapacitate the summoner. Toya and his friends managed to defeat the enemies. Suddenly, a little girl called for help because her servant was injured deadly. Lindsay couldn't heal the man because an arrow was stuck in his chest. So Toya used his null magic and was able to remove the arrow. Also, Toya healed the servant named Lime. Afterwards, Lime thanked them, and Toya's group learned that the little girl is the Duke's daughter, and her name is Sushi. So Elsa and the others bowed, and Toya learned that Sushi belonged to the royal family. Sushi said that she is the Majesty's niece, and also they don't have to talk so politely with her. Toya and his friends found out that they were attacked by bandits on the way to the capital. Then Lime wanted to hire Toya's group as an escort, and also reward them after their arrival in the capital. So Toya escorted Sushi to her estate in the capital of the kingdom. Sushi's father was happy that his daughter was unharmed and thanked Toya for saving Sushi. Then Toya learned from Duke Alfred that his wife fell ill 5 years ago and she went blind as a result. Also, the Duke said that Sushi was on a journey to find a magician who could cure his wife's illness. Unfortunately, they didn't find a person who can use the appropriate null magic. Suddenly, the friends of Toya realized that Toya could cure the illness of Sushi's mother. So Toya copied a zero magic that cured any disease. After that, Ellen was able to see her family again, and was cured of her illness. Toya's friends were also happy that Toya's healing spell was working. As a result, the Duke wanted to give the adventurer Toya a reward. He received 40 platinum coins, and when he realized how much money he got, he's shocked at the amount of money. In addition, Albert gifted Toya and his friends 4 coins with the symbol of the royal family too. So Toya ended his assignment in the capital, and Yahei wanted to continue traveling with Toya. In the days that followed, Toya discovered a crying girl. She told him that she was separate from her friends. Toya showed her his phone, and he used Google Maps to find Arma's big sister. So Toya did a good deed, and Arma's big sister thanked him for helping her little sister. After that, Toya's group then split up to buy supplies for their onward journey. Toya was late, and he bought a new coat. As a result, the girls said he looks good in his new clothes, which made him blush. The next day 2 men were playing shogi. Toya created a shogi board a few days before, and the 2 men at the inn were addicted to the game. Then Toya was asked to produce another shogi board. After that, Elsa and Yahei showed up with a big bag full of desserts. They had bought far too many desserts. So Toya teleported himself to the Duke's mansion with the magic gate spell, and he gifted the Duke with some desserts. The Duke's family loved Toya's gift. Also, Toya showed Duke Albert the game of shogi. Sushi was angry because she wanted to play too, but her father said her turn will come later. Sushi got angry because she is bored, and she complained to Toya. In addition, she teased Toya, and she tickled him. Then Toya played shogi with the Duke until late at night, because Albert also became addicted to the game shogi. The next day, Toya showed the quest about the mega slimes, and the girls refused immediately. They said they hate slimy and sticky things. Meanwhile, Toya imagined the slimes disappearing the girls' clothes. Then we see Toya's group in a ruin fighting a dark knight. Yahei and Elsa's teamwork was perfect, and they managed to overpower the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight then attempted a sneak attack, but Lindsay froze the Dark Knight's legs. In the end, Toya attacked, and they defeated the Dark Knight together as a team. After defeating the monster, Toya used his search spell, and he could sense a historical treasure under a huge rock. Followed Lindsay used an explosion spell, and destroyed the huge rocks around the area. Then they found an underground entrance that led to a cave. Elsie and Yahei were afraid of ghosts, and they hid behind Toya. As they walked on, they saw ancient writing, and Toya decided to take a picture with his phone. Toya unwittingly startles the 2 girls, and he says it was just his phone. Then he photographed the stone wall, and Elsa discovered an earth magic stone. Toya wanted to perform magic in the stone, and the girls made a big safe distance from Toya. As the earth magic stone absorbed magic, a secret door opened to a mysterious statue. Toya looked at the statue and noticed that the statue was made of glass. Suddenly, Lindsay's light magic faded. Toya's friends noticed Lindsay's magic being absorbed. Then the glass statue awoke, and he transformed into a crystal bug. The cave collapsed, and Toya used a portal to escape with his friends. After that, the monster made an explosion, and he tried to hunt Toya and his friends. So Lindsay attacked with fire magic, and the magic was absorbed by the monster. Yahei then attacked with her sword, and the shell was too hard. As the next one, Elsa also tried to destroy the monster's skin, but they had no chance. The girls didn't know what to do anymore, and Toya used a spell to throw the monster away. The monster was then attacked with ice magic, and the twins attacked together. As a result, Elsa managed to destroy the legs of the monster, and suddenly it started to glow. The monster regenerated himself, and immediately injured Elsa. Elsa was badly injured, and Toya instantly healed Elsa while the monster was distracted by Lindsay and Yahei. After that, Toya thought of a plan to defeat the monster. He then told Elsa about his plan, and he faced the monster. Then Toya stole the crystal from the monster with a spell, and Elsa was able to destroy the monster's core with a single punch. Toya was able to defeat the strong monster with his friends, and they wanted to report the story to the Duke. After that, Albert learned about the mysterious monsters of the kingdom ruins. He couldn't believe everything, and Toya also showed him pictures of the writings in the ruins. In the evening they returned to the Silver Moon Inn, and Toya used drawing magic to produce copies of his photos. The next day, he teleports back to Duke Albert's estate. Suddenly, Toya learned that the king had been poisoned, and Albert asked Toya to cure the illness of his brother. Toya was on the way to the king's palace with Duke Albert, and he learned that the king was most likely poisoned by nobles who wished to marry the princess to become the next monarch of the kingdom. Albert wanted Toya to use his spell recovery to heal the king and save his life. When Toya and Albert arrived at his brother's castle, they were told by an arrogant noble that the assassin had been caught. Then the king's daughter cried, and Albert opened the door to the king's bedroom. Toya then used his recovery spell on the king. Toya was able to save the king's life, and Albert introduced Toya to his brother. The king thanked him for his help, and the king's daughter Yumina immediately fell in love with Toya. But Toya was into older women, and he got nervous around the pretty Charlotte. Charlotte is a court mage to the king, and she wanted to learn more about magic from Toya. Then Yumina thanked Toya, and she noticed that Toya reacted differently to her than to Charlotte. After that, Albert and his brother wanted to find out who had poisoned him. General Leon said the king passed out after drinking wine during lunch. Toya had a hunch as to how the king was poisoned. The king then wanted to speak to the ambassador. When Ambassador Olga appeared, Toya immediately noticed that they knew each other. Toya suspected that Olga wasn't the assassin who poisoned the king. So Toya wanted to see the crime scene, and he used his search spell to find the poison. Followed Toya knew immediately how the king was poisoned, and he had also called the suspect to him. So everyone gathered at the crime scene, and Count Balsa was called. He couldn't believe the king was still alive. However, Toya said that the culprit is among the person in the room. Count Balsa tried to blame Olga for the poisoning, and he said that Olga's wine was poisoned. Toya then showed a new bottle of wine. General Leon drank it, and he confirmed that there was no poison in the wine. Then Toya poured the wine into His Majesty's glass, and he asked Count Balsa to drink it. He refused to drink the wine, and Leon forced him to drink from the glass. As Count Balsa drank the wine, he thought he was dying. Toya was able to prove that the poison was in the glass. Count Balsa was the culprit, and Toya prevented Count Balsa from running away. Then the king thanked Toya again, and Yumina suddenly stood up. She told her parents that she had decided to marry Toya. Toya couldn't believe it, and didn't know what was going on. Toya said that he can't get married yet, and that he family didn't know him. The king said that Yumina had magical eyes, and could see the true character of each person. Then Toya learned that Yumina is only 12. Toya said that he and Yumina are way too young to get married. The king said that the king's family usually get married by the age of 15. Toya said that in his country, marriage is only allowed from the age of 18 at the earliest. Toya had no more arguments to present, so Toya was engaged to the king's daughter Yumina. Later, God calls Toya on his phone. God congratulated him on his engagement with the princess. The next day, the other girls found out about Toya's engagement to the princess. Everyone was jealous, and Yumina introduced herself to the girls. They also learned that Yumina would like to go on adventures with Toya in the future. Later on, Toya and his girls were on their way to an assignment. Yumina wanted to show Toya that she isn't useless, and she summoned powerful wolves. Toya was impressed by the summoning magic, and the wolves attracted monsters. Then Yumina shot a monster with her bow, and the others also started fighting. Toya and his girls fought the strong monsters, and they easily defeated the monsters. In the process, Toya and the other girls learned that Yumina is very strong and talented. After their fight, Toya was worried since his group is made up of only girls. He said he's afraid people will talk bad about him because he only has pretty girls in his group. The girls blushed when they heard Toya call them pretty. After that, they returned to the city, and Toya used summoning magic. Toya summoned a white tiger, and Yumina said that the white monarch is among the highest-ranking monsters. In order for Toya to make a pact with the white tiger, Toya had to prove his strength. He then showed the white monarch his magic powers. Toya had too much power, and the white tiger fell over, so the white monarch accepted Toya as his ruler. Then Toya gave the tiger the name Kohaku. Toya said that his form as a giant white tiger causes him problems with other people in the town. As a result, Kohaku turned into a cute little kitten. The girls loved Kohaku and everyone wanted to hug Kohaku. In the days that followed, Toya and his friends were assigned to investigate a castle that houses many slimes. The girls were all depressed because they hate sticky slimes. Toya looked forward to the assignment, as he would like to see if the slimes decomposed the girls' clothes. Then we see Toya. They were looking around the castle and they were looking for valuable research information of a slime explorer. When they looked in the basement, they found green slimes. Lindsay wanted to burn the slimes, but Toya stopped her, because she would destroy the whole castle with his fire magic. Following this, the slimes approached, and Toya noticed that the slimes are bound to certain places. When Toya and his friends wanted to go upstairs, more slimes appeared. Toya learned that the white slimes produce lotion and the produced lotion of the slimes are harmless. Then the girls and Toya slide down the stairs through the lotion. Kohaku held Toya and saved him. The girls were all below and being attacked by the green slimes. The slimes decomposed the girls' clothes. Toya rescued his friends and used this spell gate to teleport them. Then Toya saw the half-naked girls and he stared at the girls. Toya enjoyed his view of the girls who were almost naked. So Toya blushed, and he was slapped by Elsa when she realized that Toya was staring at them. After that, they continued to look around the castle and they discovered strange statues. Then Toya looked at the statue and he spotted bust slimes. They attached to women's chest and mimicked them. Following this, the slimes jumped onto Yumina and she instantly defeated the slimes. After that, Toya found a secret room of the Slime Explorer. He discovered a book from the dead Slime Explorer, who lived in the castle. Toya was reading his diary, and the Slime Explorer wrote that he made his dream true with the slimes. Then slimes appeared, and Yumina told Toya that the slimes were transforming into something. The slimes turned into Toya's friends, and were naked. Toya was looking at the naked bodies, and the girls tried to cover his view of the slimes. In the end, the girls burned down the castle and destroyed everything. So Toya was teaching how the castle was burned down, and he thought, it is funny that the slime researcher wanted to use his slimes to create a harem full of girls. The next day, Toya is seen walking around town with Kohaku. They saw that Yahe had found a lost little child. The girl just cried and she didn't want to tell Yahe her name, so Kohaku tried to reveal the girl's name. Kohaku learned that the little girl's name was Lin, and Toya couldn't locate the girl's mother in his search field. Then Toya tried to expand his search field with his phone. He found Lin's mother with his phone. As a result, Toya was able to help the girl find her mother. When the girl was reunite with her mother, Yahi wanted to know how he could find the mother with his phone. Yahi learned that by using the search spell and combining it with his cell phone, Toya can find anyone if he knows their name and appearance. Later, Toya is seen in his room combining a spell with his phone. Toya could see through the wall with his phone and watched Lindsay, who was in her underwears. He couldn't believe that he could see Lindsay's panties and he took screenshots of her. When Lindsay was dressed, she sought out Toya. Toya got scared and she told Toya that she wanted to learn new spells. Unfortunately, the spells were written in an ancient writing that she couldn't read. Toya created glasses that automatically translate ancient writing. Lindsay immediately wanted to learn the new spell and asked Toya to help her with it. Lindsay failed to cast the new spell and fell over from exhaustion. Toya then creates a spell, because he was worried about Lindsay. When she ran out of magic, Toya transferred some of his magic power to her body. Lindsay thanked Toya and continued to learn the new spell. Unfortunately, it failed again, and Toya gave her some advice to learn her new spell. Toya explained her methods of learning new spells. Then Lindsay tried to follow Toya's advice, and she managed to learn the bubble bomb spell. Lindsay managed to cast a new spell and thanked Toya for the great help. In the days that followed, Toya was walking in the town, and he saw Elsa admiring a dress. Toya talked with her, and she thought the dress wouldn't suit her. Toya said she would look really pretty in the dress, and he persuaded her to try the dress on. They went to the store together, and Toya bought the dress and gave it to Elsa as a present. When Elsa told the other girls that Toya gifted her a dress, the other girls all wanted that Toya buy them a dress too. Then they received a letter, and Toya learned that he will get a title of nobility. Toya wanted to refuse, but it would cause a big trouble, and he was forced to accept his title of nobility. The next day Toya looked at his new estate. He couldn't believe he got a huge estate instead of the knighthood. Toya was glad that he didn't become a noble, and instead had a new home for all his friends. Toya said that living in a house with 5 people is a lot of work. The girls were surprised that Toya wanted to share the huge mansion with them. They thought that Toya planned to stay in his new house only with Yumina, because it was a gift from her father the king. The girls didn't want to be rude, so Toya said that he loves all 4 of them equally, and they are all like family to him. The girls blushed when Toya said he loved them all, and suddenly everyone wanted to look around the mansion. Toya didn't notice that all the girls had a crush on him. Yumina understood why the girls were all nervous, and said that she likes to share Toya with the other girls. After that, we see Toya playing with Kohaku in his new garden. Then the girls showed up, and the girls asked if he really is sure to live with them in the huge mansion. Toya replied that he would like to live with them. In addition, Toya had to promise the girls to treat everyone equally, and not to favor anyone. Later, servants showed up to take care of and clean Toya's huge mansion. The butler Lime introduced Toya to the new servants, and Toya learned that Lime was the king's former butler. He was happy to serve his brother's savior. Toya learned that he is the older brother of Sushi's butler, also known as Lime. Toya remembered him immediately, and he had no objection to hiring the nice people as servants. Toya was then informed that Duke Albert and Sushi had come to visit. Sushi said that she was surprised when she heard about Yumina and Toya's engagement. Then Duke Albert said he was also considering Toya marrying his daughter, and Sushi wouldn't reject the idea to marry Toya as well. Toya managed to avoid the subject, and the Duke told him about his request. He wanted to ask for Toya's help, because there should be an alliance between the Kingdom of Belfast and the Kingdom of Mistmead. Toya should use his gate to safely teleport the kings from one place to another. The next day, Toya made his way to the Kingdom of Mistmead. Toya met a group of knights who escort Toya and his friends on their journey. Toya thanked Olga for her support, and Almar was also happy to travel with Toya. After that, they discussed the route to the Mistmead Kingdom, and Knight Leon had a crush on Olga. When it got dark, Toya and his group rested around the campfire. Suddenly, a comrade noticed that bandits are nearby. So Toya showed his phone, and he was able to track the bandits' locations using his Snapchat app. Toya tested a new spell, and he was able to attack all bandits with his phone. The bandits were all paralyzed by Toya, so the knights were able to arrest all of the bandits. Then Toya noticed that Leon had a crush on Olga. The other girls also watched, and they discussed whether Olga noticed Leon's feelings. Also, they said that Olga doesn't seem as dense as a certain someone. Toya didn't understand that the girls was talking about him. When they got to the next town, Toya spotted Leon, who was looking for jewelry. Leon said he wanted to buy a present for his mother. Toya knew it was meant to be a present for Olga. Toya then bought Arma a gift, and he asked her what her big sister Olga had chosen. As a result, Leon found out that Olga likes flowers. Following this, Toya walked away from the booth, and they were able to help Leon find a perfect present for Olga. Yumina praised Toya for helping Leon choose a gift for Olga. After that, they sailed to another city, and Lindsay got seasick. So Toya gave Lindsay a piggyback, and Lindsay enjoyed the piggyback. As they were about to continue, Kohaku sensed someone is watching Toya's group. Then they drove on, and Toya suggested to set up a camp before the night fell. Olga said that there are many monsters in the woods, and Toya said that Kohaku can protect everyone. When the night fell on, a dragon suddenly appeared. Toya learned that the dragons are behaving strangely, and that they live in the center of the Kingdom of Belfast. Toya looked at his phone, and he noticed that the dragon was flying towards a small village. So Toya's group split up to evacuate the villagers, and Toya attacked the dragon. Toya used Kohaku to lure the dragon away from the city. The dragon followed Toya, and he managed to lure the dragon to a deserted place. Then Kohaku got angry, because the dragon threatened Toya, and Toya was surprised that Kohaku could understand the dragon's language. Next, Toya wanted to knock down the dragon so Lindsay could sever the wings. Toya used a powerful attack and shot the dragon down from the sky. The dragon fell, and Lindsay cut off the dragon's wings. Suddenly, the dragon attacked with his fire breath, and Toya protected Lindsay. Then the other girls attacked the dragon too. The dragon had a very strong skin, and Toya's sword also broke. Suddenly, the dragon was injured by an unknown throwing knife. The dragon couldn't see anymore, and Toya made him stumble. After that, Toya's group prepared to defeat the dragon together. They surrounded the dragon and combined powerful spells. Toya was able to defeat the dragon with his friends' combined attacks. So Toya won against the evil dragon, and suddenly another dragon appeared. He was able to speak the human language. The dragon apologized to Toya for causing trouble for his comrade. Toya said he shouldn't cause any more problems in the future. They then put out the fire in the village and cared for the wounded until the next morning. In the afternoon, Leon and Commander Garen were amazed by Toya's good nature. Toya donated all the materials of the dragon to the villager, so they can recover their village with the money. The mayor of the village thanked Toya and wanted Toya to get the dragon's tooth. Toya learned that he can use the tooth to create a powerful weapon. In addition, the mayor gave him back a throwing knife, thinking it belonged to Toya. Toya didn't recognize the knife. Afterwards, in the carriage, Toya asked Kohaku if there were other people in the near of the dragon. Kohaku said that 2 people were hiding in the trees. However, they arrived at the capital of Mistmead. Then everyone bowed to King Jamuka. The king heard about Toya's exploits with his friends. Following, Yumina stood up, and she confirmed that their group saved the villager from the dragon. The king didn't know who Yumina is, and she introduced herself as the daughter of King Tristwin of Kingdom Belfast. Following this, Yumina said that she wanted to personally deliver a message from her father, requesting an alliance with the Mistmead Kingdom. However, King Jamuka said that he think of the matter and he give a response in the near future. Then King Jamuka got curious about Toya and asked if Toya would like to fight against him. Toya then learned that King Jamuka is a battle junkie. The king's servant said that Toya should fight the king with his full strength and show no consideration to him. Then the rules were explained that magic is allowed, but strong attack spells are not tolerated. Toya then used his spell Slip, and the king lost instantly. The king was surprised by Toya's magic. He didn't want to accept defeat without a fight, so Toya had to fight King Jamuka again, and he wasn't allowed to use the spell Slip. Then the two fight against each other, and King Jamuka was very talented in hand-to-hand combat. Followed Toya attacked, and he buffed his strengths. The king dodged his attack. The king also mastered null magic, and he could use the Axel spell to increase his agility. Toya loved his Axel spell and tried using it too. Toya managed to copy the magic perfectly, so both fought with the Axel spell. Toya combined the boost spell with Axel, and he managed to defeat the king. As a result, Toya was proclaimed the victor, and the king was surprised and pleased with Toya. In the evening, Knight Leon was looking for his crush Olger, but unfortunately Toya hasn't seen her yet. Then Toya and Leon spotted the girls, and they were all dressed up nicely. The king then discovered Toya and complimented him on his outfit. Toya's girls also complimented him, and he was flattered. Then he wanted to take a picture of the pretty girls. After that, Toya told the king about his phone with which he can take photos. The king was amazed, and he wanted a picture of himself too.